Hello everybody, my name is Matt Castillo, and I would like to share my digital narrative with you about my journey in being a writer, and more specifically, writing about sports. My journey begins where basically everyone learns to write, and that's way back in elementary school. It starts by just learning how to write letters, your uppercase, your lowercase letters, then learning how to write words, and eventually writing sentences. And every day in class, we had to do some kind of writing assignment in our composition notebook. I wasn't a fan of writing early on in my life. I always had to do it, obviously, because I always had some writing assignment for homework. And part of the reason I didn't enjoy writing was just being a lazy kid. I didn't want to have to write or sit down and think about what I had to write about. I just wanted to be outside and play sports. Another reason why I didn't like writing was I was a terrible speller, and I guess I still am, but spell check certainly hides that. But back then, spell check was not available to me. I also had horrible handwriting where teachers couldn't even read what I wrote, and I was forced to rewrite homework time and time again, and I also hated criticism. I didn't want anyone to say anything negative about my writing, or it would bother me. It wasn't until middle school that I changed my viewpoint on writing, and what changed was my love for sports. It was in middle school that I moved here from New York to South Carolina, and it was late in the school year, so I didn't have friends. So sports became a bigger part of my life, and it's what entertained me. I would read Sport Illustrated magazines during leisure time in class, or when I got home, I would read ESPN articles on the computer. From reading these articles, I began to think about how much I loved sports, and how I feel like I could be a great sport writer. I always knew I wanted to do something that involved sports as a job when I grew up, but it was at this point in my life that I knew I wanted to be a sport writer. In high school, having classes that lasted an hour and a half, I would finish my work quickly, and it would leave me with a lot of free time. So I began to write sports stories in my notebook to help pass the time, and I guess it also kept me from getting into trouble. I also began writing for the school newspaper, which allowed me not to only write about the sports going on in the school, but topics that were heavily talked about in sports during this time. My first 2 years in college, I was on the newspaper staff for Spartanburg Methodist College, and I covered all the sports on campus. My last semester there, one of my stories even ended up on the front page. In the fall of 2014, I joined a new online sports site called Skyscraper Sports. I've been on their staff ever since, and I've been covering the New York Jets. I've came a long way from first not liking to write to it becoming a passion of mine, and now it's something that I'm trying to make a career of.